that is what that is the terrifying nature of this this current election cycle. This does not mean that like Donald Trump is going to be as bad as Kamala Harris. On some issues, they are going to be identical. Okay? But win or lose, we have genuinely changed this. We've genuinely changed the trajectory of this country.
We begin with a stunning news statement from Donald Trump out on the campaign trail last night when the former president said he would be the protector of women, quote, whether the women like it or not. The comments could backfire for Trump, who has faced decades of allegations of abuse from multiple women. And of course, it was the former president who placed 3 justices on the Supreme Court, which overturned Roe versus Wade, sending the question of abortion rights back to the states. Here's what Trump had to say.
4 weeks ago, I was saying, no, I want to protect the people. I want to protect the women of our country. I want to protect the women. Sir, please don't say that. Why? They said, we think it's very inappropriate for you to say. So why? They said, sir, I just think it's inappropriate for you to say. Pay these guys a lot of money. Can you believe it? I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them.
Today, we will be leaving Wisconsin, heading west. And I'll be obviously in 3 states again today, talking with the American people about the stakes of this election and the opportunity that we, the American people, have to chart a new way forward. I will comment on the former President Donald Trump's remark about women and whether they like it or not. And listen, it actually is, I think, very offensive to women in terms of not understanding their agency, their authority, their right, and their ability to make decisions about their own lives, including their own bodies. And this is just the latest on a series of reveals by the former president of how he thinks about women and their agency. Whether he has said, as he has, that women should be punished for their choices, whether he has talked about his pride in taking away a fundamental right from women.
Trump was watching Kamala Harris's live reacted to Kamala Harris's fake news conference. All lies. She's desperate, but more importantly, she looks totally exhausted. She should rest now and leave the campaigning to me. That's so sad. Okay, my man has lost his juice. He's lost the sauce. Okay, he's like, come on, don't campaign anymore. No more campaigning. Come on, Kamala. Stop with the campaigning. Don't do it. Don't campaign. You no longer need to. All right, give up. It would be quite nice if you gave up. It's not even a bad statement from Trump. Lots of women don't support abortion. He's just uniquely an awful person to deliver it, Lamau. Like, it's so funny to be like, our strong message in our strong closing argument in this fucking campaign cycle that started years ago because Donald Trump unceremoniously threw his hat in the ring because of fears that he was going to get prosecuted. Much longer than like normal campaigns as a consequence of Trump starting early is now coming to a close with the last message being, we're suing CBS for $10 billion because they edited Kamala Harris. A thing that every outlet has done for Donald Trump over and over again. We're also saying that Kamala Harris yawned. So she's lazy and tired. And maybe we could just get come on, please forfeit and let us win as a last Hail Mary, last second Hail Mary. Great stuff overall.
Whether it be how he has actually...
The cope from both sides is an all-time high law. I don't think it's cope on the... I think that there are a lot of Democrats who are terrified. I would say most Democrats are worried. Most Democrats who have voted for Kamala Harris, who are excited to vote for Kamala Harris, who want other people to vote for Kamala Harris, are legitimately worried about the prospect of this election.
created a situation in America where now 1 in 3 women lives in a
30% of women do not support legal abortion. That is objectively a lot of women. That is objectively not a lot of women. Okay. Like, what are you saying? That is, you have described a minority. I never said no women support abortion, or I mean, no women are pro-life to a degree where they like would actively vote against a candidate, actively vote against a fucking candidate that is like saying they want to restore Roe v. Wade. There are plenty of women in the pro-life movement. It's just not, there's not a lot of people in the pro-life movement in general in comparison to the pro-choice movement. There are a lot of people who are pro-life and still don't think that the government should interfere in the affairs. For example, Bro just says 60 million women isn't a lot of women. Yes, because 70% of women are in favor of defending Roe v. Wade. 70% of all people are in favor of defending Roe v. Wade. 75%, as a matter of fact, even larger than that. There is, we ran through this yesterday. Where I talked to Alabama chatters, Alabamians who were like, well, my coworkers are fucking so anti-abortion, I think you're wrong. And I was like, nope, there's not a state in this fucking nation from sea to shining sea where anti-abortion, like abortion restrictions, are reaching majority support. Not a single one. HasanAbi arguing with chatters why 70% is larger than 30%. What the fuck is this timeline? I know. I don't know where Hassan went, but Trafalgar Law is spitting facts. Thank you for calling me correctly by my name.
Trump abortion ban state and has legal restrictions on the right she rightly should have to make decisions about her own body. The other point I will refer to about in the last many hours is the speaker's comments about the Affordable Care Act. Look, I've been saying throughout this campaign, be very clear that among the stakes in this election are whether we continue with the Affordable Care Act or not. It has been a part of Donald Trump's agenda for a very long time. He has made dozens of attempts to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. And now we have further validation of that agenda from his supporter, the Speaker of the House. And what that would mean for the American people is that insurance companies could go back to a time when they would deny you coverage for health insurance based on pre-existing conditions such as you being a survivor of breast cancer, asthma, diabetes. And what I know is that the American people, regardless of who they're voting for, know the importance of the Affordable Care Act, as it is also called Obamacare, in terms of expanding people's coverage to health care based on a fundamental principle that I hold deeply. Access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. So there's still a lot of work to do, but each day I think that there are also indications that we are receiving from my opponent that verify, validate, and reinforce the fact that, one, he is not going to be fighting for women's reproductive rights. He does not prioritize the freedom of women and the intelligence of women to make decisions about their own lives and bodies. And health care for all Americans is on the line in this election as well. I'll take your questions.
Dan? Oh, yeah. You know, since the beginning stages of your campaign, you've described yourself as an underdog. That language is gone from your speech now. Has something changed in how you're feeling?
No, listen, I am putting it all on the field. And it's going to be a very tight race. And I'm running like the underdog, because we are. Donald Trump's been running for the last decade. I've been in this race about 3.5 months. And the stakes are so high. But I've been saying for quite some time, regardless of what the polls say, we are going to win. I do believe that. Because I do believe that this is a choice about two very different directions for our country. And the choice being offered by Donald Trump is about going backward, about a constant emphasis on degrading the American people and our capacity, versus a track that is about bringing the country together, knowing we have more in common than what separates us, and we should have a plan, which I do, to actually get things done, including bringing down the cost of living for people, investing in our small businesses, expanding access to health care, investing in American industries, including the future of American industries and American workers. So there you go.
Well,
So you talked about what the former president said being offensive to women.
I think it's offensive to everybody, by the way.
Well, that was my question.
Yeah.
What, the sort of hyper masculinity that he is talking about, what do you think about it possibly resonating with men and male voters specifically?
You've been.
I think that people keep saying, like, are you worried about the outcome of this election? And I think people don't understand that, like, I'm worried about the outcome of this election regardless of who wins. I'm worried about the future of this country regardless of whether Kamala Harris wins or Donald Trump wins. Okay? That is what that is the terrifying nature of this this current election cycle. This does not mean that, like, Donald Trump is going to be as bad as Kamala Harris. On some issues, they are going to be identical. Okay? But win or lose, we have genuinely changed this. We've genuinely changed the trajectory of this country. The future is bleak. This is something that I brought back. This is something that I brought up a lot. Like, this is, we're basically running a fucking Republican primary at this point. Three Trump referendum general elections have occurred. And by the third one, Donald Trump has successfully changed American politics permanently in his own vision.
Following me, and you will see that in the tens of thousands of people who attend our rallies, which is an opportunity to talk about the issues, to talk about the future of our country, right? There are men, women, young people, people of every race, every background. One of the points I think that is a point of pride for everyone who attends, and including myself, is that our campaign really is about bringing people together, people of very different and diverse backgrounds, around a common theme that is about love of country, defending the Constitution of the United States, and investing in our future, and rejecting the notion that we are divided, or that should be acceptable, that we would be divided as a nation. So I'm very proud to have the support of men, women, young people, people of every background.
Ebony?
So we know we have 5 days until the election. How are you going to continue to draw the contest with former President Donald Trump, specifically with the undecided voters, as the pool is really shrinking now?
I will continue, as we will do today, as we did yesterday, and so on, to talk with people where they live, So again, here in Wisconsin, heading to Arizona, heading to Nevada, to talk with people about issues like how we're going to deal with price gouging, corporate price gouging as a way to deal with grocery costs, how we're going to invest in small businesses and expand access to capital, how I will give first-time homeowners a $25,000 down payment assistance if they are first-time homeowners.
Some folks, including Emma Vigeland, think that the Harris calculation to court older white women in swing states may prove to be the right strategy. Following a more progressive tack would, in a sense, have been rewriting the Dem playbook. It would have been interesting to see a comprehensive strategy for truly running a progressive campaign. Yeah, I disagree. I've never once said that Kamala Harris shouldn't try to court older white women in the suburbs. I understand the necessity for doing such a thing, but you can do that without fucking hugging and kissing Liz Cheney. You can do that and simultaneously also advocate for policies that help the base, the actual base, without undermining the actual base of support for the Democratic Party. Like, I'm telling you right now, Kamala Harris, like, leaving the Gaza question on the table and just being full tilt pro-genocide wins no additional votes. It actually hurts some of the base of support that she has. Okay? That's number one. Kamala Harris running a right-wing immigration agenda instead of communicating that a more humane approach to immigration is an absolute necessity and that Democrats are hallucinating problems. Okay? Hallucinating problems that immigrants are causing when they're just our neighbors, you know? When they're just people exactly like you. That is not just courting the older white suburban women. Okay? You court the older white suburban women by talking about January 6th. You court the old white suburban women by showing Donald Trump as like an ugly, rude man who is not the kind of person that you want in your home. You court the old suburban white women by talking about Roe v. Wade and what Donald Trump's policies in action look like for the next generation of white women. You don't have to completely rewrite the party's agenda on right-wing notions that are not born out of like a logical demand for a real problem, but instead created by complete hysteria. It's ironic that you think we would be rewriting the Democratic playbook when Kamala Harris has rewritten the Democratic Party's playbook. Joe Biden rewrote it for her. But when we rewrite the Democratic Party's playbook to openly undermine a massive, massive policy differential in the way that we communicate, in the way that we legislate on the issue of immigration, when we rewrite it in a right-wing manner, nobody thinks that we're rewriting the Democratic Party playbook. Everybody thinks that's expertise in action. That's great. That's great campaign strategy. Do you understand? Do you get it? That's rewriting the playbook. There's never been a moment where the Democrats have said immigrants constitute a national security threat until this election cycle. That's a massive change from the ways in which they have. You said Trump as bad as Kamala. You misspoke. Oh, I meant Kamala as bad as Trump.
Home buyer to help them get their foot in the door. These are the issues that the American people want to talk about because these are the issues that affect them.
Do you think once Harris is elected, she'll change course to be more progressive? No, I do not. Not even a little bit.
These are the issues they think about when they're sitting at their kitchen table or when they're trying to go to sleep at night. And what I know is that they want a president of the United States who, as I say, will walk into the Oval Office with a to-do list and not an enemies list. And so that's what I will continue to do over the course of these next few days, to let folks know that I see them, I hear them, and I'm prepared to address their challenges with a plan that is about getting things done.
Thank you.
Madam Vice President, can you just do that?
All right, that was Vice President Kamala Harris addressing reporters in Madison, Wisconsin. She was responding to former President Donald Trump's comment last night at his rally that he is going to be the protector of women, quote, whether the women like it or not, end quote. The vice president just a few moments ago pointing out that she thinks that Trump's comments on women are not just offensive to women, but, quote, offensive to everybody. I want to go back to our campaign reporters who are covering all of this. Eva McKend is out there in Arizona. Kristen Holmes is with me here in Washington. Eva, your response to what we just heard from the vice president, I mean, there was, out on the campaign trail over the last 24 hours, there was sort of this back and forth over garbage. It started with what the comedian said at that rally at Madison Square Garden on Sunday night, calling Puerto Rico garbage. And then there was the president's gaffe more than 24 hours ago or so. And then, when the Trump campaign thought that they had something, they were sort of, they thought they had the tiger by the tail here with Trump climbing into a garbage truck with his name on it and everything. Then he makes this comment about women. And you saw the vice president just seize on it a few moments ago.
She did, Jim, because clearly she was setting the tone for the day with issues where she feels especially comfortable. So as it relates to connecting with women on this issue of reproductive rights, and then also talking about health care more broadly, which has become so